Shoot Property 12. Welcome in. We are
Welcome,
talking real
welcome.
estate and taxes. As you guys
Mm-hmm.
know, I'm a realtor, residential and commercial. And then I have my partner slash best friend on with me. She is a tax
Yes,
professional, tax
yes,
specialist, here to
yes.
answer any questions that you guys may have in regards to taxes.
Mm-hmm.
I actually need to invite a couple of people that thought that they couldn't get on because they didn't have TikTok.
Mm.
How do you
Oh, yeah, do
invite?
that. And let me invite Dawn.
Let's see.
But yeah, we can definitely, um, what you gonna call it? Save the live and post it on
Okay.
TT.
Yes, on TT. No, TT. That's cute. I'm gonna start calling it TT. On TT.
On TT.
I like it.
DJ's gonna be like, no, mom, it's not TT. It's TikTok.
Yes.
It's TT.
Gotta post it on TikTok for the people that were waiting on us to get on TikTok. Sorry, guys.
Right.
We had some issues here. So we're just chatting a very casual conversation about
Mm-hmm.
real estate and taxes. A little Q&A. We won't be on here for very long, but I know I had a couple of people that were interested in asking some tax questions and they wanted to pick your brain a little bit, Erica.
Okay,
I
I'm ready.
sent the
I'm with it.
invite. I shared it with them already. But we can, I guess, jump into some basic stuff.
Yeah.
I
Tax
guess,
season is coming.
yes, it's upon
It's,
us. You
it's
definitely want
upon
to
us.
get
Yes.
your things, your documents, and everything. What do you need? First, let's talk about that. What do people need to do to prepare when it comes to tax season?
So, of course, you got to wait for your W-2s, your 1099s.
Mm-hmm.
So usually your employer is supposed to have this information to you by the end of this month. I'm noticing a lot of people have not gotten their W-2s or 1099s yet. So at least by the first week of February, no later, or they can get penalized for not providing this information to you. So I always tell people it's no rush anyway into filing your tax return the first week of February because honestly, there's always kinks, in the system with the IRS. They're always pushing out dates. A lot of people have dependents,
Mm-hmm.
and they did make it aware that they will not be issuing any refunds before mid-February anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So to be on the safe side, and making sure that you have all of your reported income, I would just hold off honestly until mid to late February with filing. It's just honestly no rush, right? And it's better to be safe than sorry. With making sure that you have everything that you need for your tax preparer or accountant
Mm-hmm.
because you'll get penalized if you're not reporting all of your income because then what'll happen is you'll be issued a CP 2000 notice and that's an underreporting notice and it's going to say like hey, you forgot to report this. We're tacking on additional penalties and interest for not reporting
Sheesh.
this.
They get all in your
So
business like that.
yes. So that's why, so for me, I'm like, I like to be on the safe side. So I usually tell people who, feel like they haven't gotten it and they don't know who's supposed to issue it, just get an extension
Mm.
because your transcripts are always released at the end of May. So when those are released, then, you can have a clean slate from the IRS, like, okay, this is what's reported. And if you feel like a 1099 was missing or whatever, you know who to directly go
Okay.
to request that information. So that's, a really good like tactic to, just do moving forward because a lot of people been getting hit with these penalties and interest. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry if
Hmm.
it like cut out. I got a phone call.
Oh no, you're no, no, no. You didn't get cut out.
Okay. Twice actually. I need to put my phone on D&D, but
I
that's
know I
good
have to do that.
information. That's good to know. So
Yeah.
for business owners in
Hmm.
particular, right? Let me
Oh
ask you
yeah.
this. I'm curious. So somebody that is filing your taxes,
Hmm.
that is not used to filing taxes for business owners, like what would be your recommendation for people that are 1099 and business owners? Like, would you recommend that they go to a tax specialist that specifically works with businesses? Because that's, I'm newer to this side of things, so I'm trying to
Hmm.
figure out just for myself too, would it be beneficial to go to somebody that specifically specializes in business tax returns?
So yeah, I'm gonna say
Okay.
yes because so only because I'm noticing. So if you're used to going to like a H&R Block or what a Jackson Hewitt
Mhm.
or just a mom and pop shop or whatever, you don't want to go to them because number one, they are only trained to do simple tax returns like W-2, for example. Now, they'll say they know how to do a Schedule C form, which is usually the most common form for businesses as an LLC.
Okay.
Now, as you know, if you're an S Corp, that's a different form. That's an 1120S, and then, and so forth. So for you this year, it would be a Schedule C form. And basically, it's still with your personal,
Mhm.
but it's still saying, like, okay, I do have a business
Mhm.
and it's attached with your personal. So, but it's still
Mhm.
separate, if that makes
Mhm.
sense.
Gotcha.
So, but all in all, I definitely would not recommend just going to anyone, especially when it comes to business, because they, number one, don't know. What you can write off. They know maybe basic information that you can write off, but I'm noticing a lot of tax preparers, they don't go more into depth, like if you work from home, what's the square footage of your home?
Mhm.
Okay, what's the square footage of your office? Because all of that comes into play
Right.
with filing. So, and we just ask a little more in depth. And of course, we have like a cheat sheet, which is like a checklist of what you guys should be providing to us. So that way, instead of like scrambling on what you need to
Mhm.
do, it's like it's a
Mhm.
clear, concise checklist of bullet point, like, okay, I got this, I got that. Oh, maybe I didn't know I could write off this. Okay, let me do this. So, yeah. And I mean, every business industry too is different. So, like,
Right.
if you're driving a lot, of course, mileage would come in handy. If you have a vehicle over 6,000 pounds, of course, you would qualify for the, Section 179, which is, for a vehicle. You can write off your vehicle.
Mhm.
This year, I want to say it's down to 80%. I got to double check, but each year it is going to go down. It used to be 100% depreciation, but I want to say this year it's at 80, which is still good. I mean,
That's not
something's
bad.
better than
Yeah.
nothing, right?
Right. That's not bad at
So,
all.
yeah, so I mean, but again, take full advantage of your write-offs. Like I can't express that enough, but at the same time, you want to also make sure you're specifying your expenses and not just putting, oh, I spent 20 grand on other expenses, and you're not specifying what those other expenses are because
Mhm.
that's going to red flag you for an audit because let's be real, like they're gonna want to know what those
What is
other
it
expenses
for?
are.
Right.
Yeah, and I've definitely seen some crazy
Really?
situations on tax returns,
I
yes,
believe it.
where people are coming to me and they're like, hey, my return hasn't processed. They send me their tax return and it's like they'll make 80,000 in their business annually and then after it's like other expenses and it was like $50,000 in other expenses and then you look further and it's like it was for fuel, like that's a huge
50,000 for fuel.
yeah. Yeah, so I actually just picked up someone that it was like an example like that, and I had to let them know, like, this is why your return never processed. So
Mm,
for me, it's like, okay, I'm letting you know we need to go back and just amend it because they're not going to process that return. It's going to stay in examination, or they're going to push it to audit, and then it's just going to be even more big of a headache.
mm,
So for me, I'm like, let's just go in and just fix it
right.
before anything else happens.
Makes
So
sense.
a lot of different scenarios can happen, but most importantly, definitely get with the right accountant, ask them certain questions related to business.
Hmm.
And I feel like when you ask, like if you're clear on what you're looking for when it comes to an accountant, you want to make sure number one, they can perform, um, what you're asking for. And that's honestly saving you the most when it comes to your tax liability. Because at the end of the day, you are going to owe something as a business owner, unless you're like some of my clients who are here, and you are heavy into real estate, which is something that we'll, deep dive in. But if you are heavy into the real estate game, that is why people are investing into real estate, because our government acknowledges, that,
Right.
like you need to invest, and that's how you get the biggest tax write-offs, and end up getting a refund.
Hmm.
So yeah, so it's always a good time to buy.
Always, always,
Don't
always,
let
always.
don't let anyone persuade you into not having home ownership, because I'm on my way to home ownership, and I hope, anyone who's aspiring to do that, you know, definitely gets into that, because yeah, that's the key to wealth as well,
It
Yeah.
definitely is. So, and I have a couple of clients that I had actually, that was one of the deals I closed in
Hmm.
December. That was his whole purpose.
Hmm.
He had to get some type of investment property because
Hmm.
it's either he did that or he was going to have to owe the IRS like $500,000.
See?
So
Ah. Mm.
it was necessary for him to get a piece of property so that, like you said, the IRS, they acknowledge that. So it's
Yep.
always a great opportunity to invest in real estate, which is why we're on
Hmm.
this live now,
Yep.
because taxes and real estate, they kind of go hand in hand, right?
Yep.
You definitely don't want to allow interest rates to stop you from either purchasing your first home, second home, or even if it's just an investment property. You know what I mean? In the real estate game, we say date the rate, marry the house, because
Mm.
interest rates, they go up and down. And they're so
Fluctuates.
unpredictable. You know what I
Yep.
mean? You keep the house for a little bit or the your investment property for a little bit, you might, luck up on a better interest rate.
Yep.
And a lot of people don't realize too that you don't have to keep your house for like years in order for you to refinance or anything like that. Like you can keep your
Mm.
property for 6 months to a year and still refinance as long as you're making your on time payments. You know what I
Okay.
mean? You're not 15 days past,
Late.
that great, with mortgage, they give you a 15-day grace period. But as long as you
Okay.
are paying on time for those 6 months to a year, you can refinance your house. You know what I mean? So
Okay.
it's never a bad time. A lot of people say, "Oh, how's the market?" My answer to that question is amazing. You know what I
See?
mean? Because
Whereas renting, they only give you 3 days to pay your rent,
I mean,
and you got to
right. You
get up
get
out of
3 days.
there.
Right. Exactly. 3 days, then you got an eviction letter at your door,
Yes.
saying that you haven't paid your rent with mortgage. You can work things out and you're not paying, you don't have an overhead, you don't have a
Mm.
landlord or anything
Yeah.
like that. You are the owner essentially, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's always a good opportunity to, like you said, expand your profile. I mean, your portfolio
Portfolio. Mm-hmm.
and to build wealth for your family. And a lot of people don't realize it's definitely a wealth builder if you do it right and you
Okay.
connect with the right people